Do us Brits need to toughen it up when it comes to hot weather? Or have we got perfect reason to be sweating and struggling in 25 degrees? Summer is almost here. We're reaching the end of spring and we've got currently temperatures of around 20 degrees and it is lovely. It is lovely and we've waited a long time for it. But temperatures next week are going up to about 24 degrees. Now you guys say we're just, wimps. We can't handle the heat. But there must be a reason why we struggle. Hopefully this is going to tell us why. A little piece from the ABC.
Now, with the continuing high temperatures in London,
Londoners are looking for relief from the stifling conditions.
Little hate it, the current heat wave doesn't come without problem.
When the UK struggles through a heat wave, temperatures over there can get as high as the mid-30s. For someone like me who deals with this weather for winter, that doesn't sound like much. So, do the Brits just need to toughen up?
No.
I mean, we've got roads melting here in our summers. We're all used to different climates, yes, but there's more to it than that.
Good. I'm glad. This video will be using Celsius because that is the correct method of measuring temperature. Okay?
For starters, a heat wave is relative. Basically, it's different depending on where you are. The World Meteorological Organization loosely defines it as more than 5 consecutive days of temperatures exceeding the average max by 5 degrees Celsius. So in the UK, it averages about 20 degrees over the summer months, whereas in Australia, it averages about 30 degrees. This means it doesn't take as high a temperature to trigger a heatwave in the UK. If we look at other cities, in Toronto, their summers are about 25 degrees. A heatwave there is 3 consecutive days over 32 degrees. And in India, with temperatures around 35 degrees, they wouldn't call a heatwave unless the air temperature reached at least 40 degrees in plains regions. So in Australia and other countries with high summer temperatures, our buildings are built to keep as cool as possible. The concept is nothing new. It's called Vernacular Architecture, where buildings are designed based on local needs, materials, and traditions. Take a look at this house. This is a Queenslander found in,
Right. I'm going to say what is with this that keeps it cool, right? I'm going to give my verdict. So, a lot of the houses in Queensland are built on stilts to let the air flow underneath. You've got the terrace around the outside, which will sweep the wind through. The walls are normally made of wood and thin. It seems like the roof is a little bit interesting as well, that there's like double layers just to trap cool air in. But those are sort of things I would think of. Big open windows.
Queensland. They're built out of timber and on stumps. The space underneath the house helps cool the building through ventilation. There's always a wide veranda for shading and protection from heavy rains, and a corrugated iron roof which is lightweight and durable.
That must be dreadful when it does rain though. Like, corrugated iron when it rains is worse than my conservatory roof when it rains, and it sounds like the house is going to fall down. I can't imagine how corrugated iron roofs would sound.
And there are plenty of other examples of this type of building for your environment from around the world. This is a house from the Asia province of Saudi Arabia, where the temperature is moderate but it rains often. The protruding slates cascade rain away from the clay walls. In the Philippines, Bahay Kubo huts are built with bamboo, with sufficient ventilation for the hot summer, and raised above the ground to protect against torrential flooding. The igloos of the Inuits, rondavels in Africa, and gears in Mongolia. You get the idea. And along with this, there's plenty of other architectural choices made to respond to the environment.
Wow. I'm not even talking about the cooling effect of this. But, wow, look, how did they even build that? How the hell did they build that? Literally into the side of a cliff, and it looks quite high up as well. That is absolutely insane and looks incredible. Wow.
Our public spaces include plenty of shaded areas and sufficient ventilation. Not to mention the majority of the population, about 85%, lives within 50 kilometres of the coastline, where all the major cities have developed. Meaning that even in summer, we'd get a nice sea breeze to help cool down the hot air temperature. But over on the other side of the world, it's not that easy.
It's interesting, actually, because what we are actually quite lucky in the UK because it doesn't get as cold as people think it could get cold, because we get the North Sea, which is this bit here. The North Sea, the hot air actually comes up towards us. So if we didn't have that, God, it'd be a lot colder.
Keep yourself cool, drink plenty of fluids, keep out of the direct sun in the heat of the day, and also keep your home as cool as you're able to by using curtains, keeping windows open at night and so on.
Did you notice something he didn't mention? Air conditioning is not really a thing in the UK.
Offices and shopping centres are more likely to have them, but they're not a given the way they'd be here in Australia and other hotter climates.
I would say we get air conditioning in shopping centres. I think. I can't even... I'm not sure now. But we actually bought a portable air conditioner, one that you get the funnel that goes out a window. But they're not the most practical of things, because you have to have them just in the middle of the hallway or in the middle of a room, and they're really loud. And then the back end of them brings out stupid amounts of heat. So they're not practical. They're not practical over here because we bought one a couple of years ago and we only really needed to use it for about 2 weeks. So you spend all that money for 2 weeks worth in a year.
They're just not needed.
That's because, like how Australian houses are built to keep cool, in the UK and other colder climates, everything is designed to keep the heat in. There aren't many overhanging eaves or awnings or shaded outdoor areas, and most windows are double glazed so that the temperature inside buildings stays as warm as possible during cold winters.
That's exactly the point. So, especially with older buildings, so I live in a house here that, hang on, brick. Everything is brick. There's the odd wall that is stud wall, but most of the walls are brick. You go up into the loft during the summer and you are going to die of melting, basically, because all the heat stays in. And this is the thing, you're trying to save. So in the winter, especially now that all the gas prices have gone up, you have to try and do everything you can to keep the heat in. You have your walls insulated with the old foamy stuff. You have, what else do you have? I can't even think. You have double glazed windows. All of those things to try and keep as much heat in to save on your energy bills in the winter, because it gets cold. I think it's a little bit different actually with new build houses, because let's be honest, most new build houses are built so poorly and they're built so quick, and every wall in the house is a stud wall. You can't hang a TV on the wall because your wall will fall over and the house will fall down. So I don't think things are built quite as well these days. But I would still say it's more than just wood, like in other countries.
Public transport is another big one. The tube is notorious for its lack of ventilation, which means the heat generated from the trains can't escape the underground system very easily. This is fine for an English summer most of the time, but as soon as the mercury starts rising, it becomes a bit unbearable. Rest assured, aircon is coming to the central line, but in 2030. So only a few years
That's a bit
ago
late.
then.
This is all well and good for part of the year, but on the flip side, when it gets cold in Australia, you really feel it. Yes, even if you're from a place where sub-zero temperatures is normal.
Because the houses are designed to perform well in summer, buildings don't really retain much heat. Even though the winter months aren't as cold, with averages of about 5 degrees, most houses aren't properly insulated. The large eaves that give you welcome shade in the summer stops that same sunshine from entering in the winter. And of course, the British homes which heat up during the summer stay nice and warm during the cold winter months.
Sort of.
So the actual infrastructure of a city can help the temperature feel hotter or cooler than it actually is. But depending on how long we've lived in a city, our physiology can also affect the way we react to certain temperatures. It's called acclimatization, and it's our body's long-term response to extreme temperatures.
So it's not just about sweating when it's hot. It's how our bodies decide when we sweat, how much we sweat, our tendency to sweat, and even the amount of salt in our sweat. It only takes about 2 weeks for a healthy body to acclimatize, depending on different factors, and it's faster to adapt to heat than to cold.
If you're used to a certain range of temperatures, anything outside of that range would feel uncomfortable to you. So both acclimatization and our city's infrastructure affects the way we feel temperature. And while we might think we're good at certain extremes, we could be proven otherwise. So next time you see this, or this, maybe don't be so quick to judge.
Don't be so quick to judge. Look, I get a lot of comments on my videos, especially when it comes to things like temperature, who, yeah, take the mick out of us English because we can't handle the heat. And I get it, because you think it's strange that we think 30 degrees is baking hot and is really tough. But then you must appreciate that actually, when you feel the cold more than us, you feel, we've had a week the other week when it was about 15 degrees. That's lovely. It was absolutely lovely. Sun was shining. It was lovely. You guys would be wrapped up in your coats and your I don't know, your under base layers and your ski jackets and everything. You'd have your heating on. That's the time when our heating goes off. So it works both ways, doesn't it? We feel the heat more because we're not acclimatized to that sort of heat, and our houses aren't built right for that sort of high temperatures. But then you guys, you suffer with the cold. You think things are colder than they are, as same as we think things are hotter than they are when and it happens. And your houses aren't built to keep the heat in. So it's perfectly understandable. As this lady says, reporter April Chan, as April Chan says, don't be quick to judge.